will see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Houston Astros on ABC's Monday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern Time. Now let's return to Don Chevrier.
Luton, with 165,000 inhabitants, has row houses everywhere, and they just barely found enough room for this soccer stadium. And tonight, Barry McGuigan will attempt the comeback and intensify it against a world-class opponent, meditating with a priest in his locker room just moments before this junior lightweight bout. And Barry, indeed, has a lot to reflect on, given the last 2 years of his life.
The joy Barry's family brings him was never more evident than at his youngest son Jake's first birthday party. There was a twinkle in his eye as he played clown for the family. A sense of peace as he surveyed those who surrounded him. A certain excitement knowing wife Sandra is expecting their 4th child. And a thankful joy that their daughter had survived an ordeal that left her near death. Now all is well with Barry McGuigan, but it was a long road back from a trying period that started 2 years ago in the desert heat of Las Vegas. What was supposed to be a showcase of his talents turned into a nightmare.
That wasn't Barry McGuigan in there. Everybody who knows me knew that it wasn't me. I was slow, I was ponderous, I had no snap, and the biggest asset is my strength and stamina. And after 3 rounds, I was absolutely exhausted. For the remainder of the fight, I was fighting on heart alone. I don't know, I really don't know how I got through the last couple of rounds, but I managed it.
The loss of his title to Steve Cruz crushed McGuigan, and he lashed out at the manager he once so lavishly praised, Barney Eastwood.
I felt very bitter because I trusted him so much that I trusted him like a second father. And he brought me out there, and it was like throw me to the lions. And he should never have done that. I would never forgive him for that. He got obviously a substantial amount of money for that, and we fell out over it.
While legal battles with Eastwood kept Barry out of the ring, he tried his hand at other endeavors. He possessed the courage but lacked the experience to be a race car driver. He then became a television talk show host, but he didn't succeed there either, further shaking his confidence.
Well, my father plays a bit of the flute, but he's not too good at it. Don't tell him I said that now.
Well, I think you said it in the wrong place.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. My wit has dried up.
As if the legal battle and the professional failures weren't enough, his daughter Danica became gravely ill, slipped into a coma, and was actually pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. But she has since recovered with no permanent damage. However, the most devastating blow was yet to come. Pat, Barry's father, the man he credits as his guiding light, died less than 2 weeks after discovering he had cancer.
I can't believe that he's dead, but he's gone. And he was my biggest inspiration, and it just knocked the heart out of me, and I didn't want to fight again. And boxing was the last thing on my mind, really. So,
of them by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Francisco Tomas da Cruz. And fighting out in the blue corner, in blue shorts, with 32 contests, 30 wins. 22 by knockout. From Ireland, the Clone Cyclone, the former featherweight champion of the world, the one and only Barry McGuigan. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down in
The
your
excitement
seats.
builds, and here is how they compare. At 130 pounds, McGuigan, De Cruz a quarter-pound lighter. De Cruz is taller than Barry, and yet the shorter man, McGuigan, has got the reach advantage of 70 inches to 67 for De Cruz. This crowd is fired up here. The The referee is the sole man in charge. Larry O'Connell from Dartford, Kent, will do the scoring. He is the judge. He's the sole referee, the sole arbitrator between these two boxers tonight because it is a non-title bout. That's the system in England by the British Board of Control. Now, the rules are a little bit different. The referee can score in half-point increments if he wants to, and the 3 knockdown rule is not in effect. No standing 8 count, no mandatory 8 count either. So we are set to go. Both men 30-2. McGuigan with 26 knockouts to Cruz with 17 scheduled for 10 rounds, and we are underway. McGuigan's pattern in the past was to start very slowly. But he said, frankly, I don't like getting hit that much, and I'm probably going to accelerate it against Cruz more than ever before. And he starts with a couple of jabs against his Brazilian opponent. Incredibly, De Cruz insists he has not seen and chose not to watch any video of McGuigan whatsoever. Claims he knows nothing about him. Hard to believe. Also said he had no fight plan in particular for the likes of Barry McGuigan. And about the crowd being so much in favor of Barry, he said he'll turn that around to his advantage. But right now, De Cruz looks a little tentative and is missing for the most part. It is scheduled for 10, this junior lightweight fight, referred to here as a super featherweight bout. That is the same weight class. That's just how they like to refer to it. And indeed, De Cruz ranked number 4 by the WBC in super featherweight class, and McGuigan number 6 in that same weight bracket. McGuigan, who's had just the 1 comeback fight, unranked by the WBA and by the IBF to this point. Barry has such heavy punches with either hand. He hooks so well with left or right, but the left hook proved devastating certainly against Nicky Perez a couple of months ago. Uppercut missing by Tomas de Cruz, who says he is the 2nd best known boxer in Brazil, a country that does not favor boxing that much, certainly not in comparison to soccer and other sports. De Cruz, one of 14 children. He has 5 brothers and 8 sisters. And it seems clear the winner may be headed for a bout against Azuma Nelson for a world championship. De Cruz says he'll take him in Brazil on his terms for $120,000. We'll see. There's a good right ripped off by Barry McGuigan. That'll get this crowd fired up there. Bearing down now as De Cruz tries to keep him at bay with a jab with less than a minute to go on the round. Good solid right and a following left by De Cruz landed. Both men missing with about 30 seconds to go in the first round. McGuigan, who likes to go to the body, has not been there all that much as he paused with the right hand of the midsection of Tomas de Cruz. The looping right and the following left hook by De Cruz. Glancing blow landed on McGuigan, who backs his man up now. But De Cruz right at him, proving to be a formidable foe here. The makings of a good match at the Luton Town Soccer Stadium in Luton, England, as round 1 draws to a close. Stay with us. Shot to the body. The action intensified certainly in the final minute of round 1 after a tentative start. De Cruz, who insists he had not seen McGuigan, it appeared, took that amount of time just to try to figure him out. But a fairly even first round, perhaps dictated by Barry in the closing 45 seconds or so. This ring is an inside measurement of 18 feet, which many feel would help McGuigan trying to contain De Cruz, who's shown certainly better movement here than against Chavez 14 months ago in his failed bid for the title. Sandra McGuigan shaking her head, looking very closely at the action in the ring here. Now hanging her head, obviously not enjoying it, but probably more typical of a wife who's just nervous about seeing her husband in the ring than any event of the moment. They're singing and chanting, "Here we go again," as they do at soccer games and at all McGuigan's bouts. We'd like to alert the local stations along the line. We'll be taking a station break at the end of this round. De Cruz, I am told, and his people complained about the small ring I mentioned of 18 feet. De Cruz, who did not get a chance to show his jab against Chavez, is showing a decent one here, but unable to follow with much. There's a chopping right hand by McGuigan that lands, that arouses this frantic crowd all the more. Uppercut by De Cruz missed. De Cruz against the ropes and in some trouble. A stopping right, two of them. Raining punches all over De Cruz. De Cruz in big trouble. The referee O'Connell looking in, not intervening at this stage as De Cruz comes back with a looping left and a right that landed. But he took about a dozen hard shots, and there's one more from McGuigan. Down to the body and up to the head goes Berry. But De Cruz gamely hangs in there and takes all he can give. We'll be back with more of this 10-round junior lightweight fight after this word from your local station. Wow. Against Brazil's Tomas De Cruz, dominating his opponent in the latter half of that second round, certainly, after a fairly even first round. And the vicious assault by McGuigan, as you would expect, has indeed slowed the movement of De Cruz, which was extensive in the earlier part of the last round. He's virtually standing in front of them now and swinging wildly, missing for the most part. Body shots blocked by the arms of McGuigan as he flicks a couple of jabs in the face of De Cruz. Again, that's what started the assault back in round two. The hands of De Cruz getting slightly lower as this third round progresses. When he does counterpunch, he hasn't got much on them, but McGuigan has plenty on his. Brings the left after a good right, the uppercut, a chopping left hand, and De Cruz takes more punishment. There goes the mouthpiece. With a minute and a half left in the round, we're halfway through the third. McGuigan said he would evaluate fight by fight, and certainly if this trend continues, he may feel he's ready for a title shot unless De Cruz dramatically turns this around. Wicked body shots after De Cruz missed with the left. He made him pay for it. Now the straight jab with a minute to go on the round. Oh, Barry McGuigan with a marginally low left to the body there. It may not last much longer at this rate. My goodness, what a beating he's taking. How he has stayed on his feet, I don't know. He's still got 30 seconds to get out of this third round. And the furious punishment from Barry McGuigan continues. He's barely able to defend himself. The referee, O'Connell, showing no signs of intervening, but even here he's wild with two counter punches. More from McGuigan coming up now. As the trend of the round continues, it is all Irish here. We'll be back to Luton after this. In Luton, England, with Barry McGuigan tattooing the face of Tomas De Cruz as he has done since the final minute of round two. All kinds of moisture in the De Cruz corner being mopped up now while this bout continues with their man in a deep, deep hole. Yet the experienced world-class referee, Larry O'Connell, who's the sole judge of this bout, has made no effort to go in and stop it whatsoever. Although there was a time there of about 30 seconds when De Cruz did not respond with a single punch. He wobbled back to his corner. And Barry's He's got this crowd singing in Luton. There is a right thrown by De Cruz, the first meaningful punch he's thrown in about a round and a half. That was blocked by McGuigan. He comes up short with a left hook as he fires the jab and the following right. But holding his own much better at this stage is De Cruz. He is obviously a hard man to take down. He's been taken down only 3 times in his career, twice by Chavez. But here comes McGuigan again. Bombs away. And the referee, McConnell, is going to step in and stop it finally. Barry McGuigan is back. There he is on his trainer's shoulders, Jimmy Tibbs, with his brother celebrating a very, very big victory. We'll be talking with Barry McGuigan in just a little while. Right now, let's go back to Frank Gifford in New York.
Thank you very much, Don, and indeed, I think you hit it right on the head. Barry McGuigan is back. A terrific performance. Either that or Thomas De Cruz was never there to begin with. We're going to go back, and we'll be talking to Barry McGuigan. We'll also be going live to Atlantic City, and today they weigh in for Monday night's title fight. That, of course, Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks, and we'll talk to both of them live, and we'll talk to some of the other principals that have created a real soap opera around that fight, and we'll also have our Athlete of the Week. All of that coming up when Wide World of Sports continues here on ABC, so stay with us. An action-packed afternoon coming up.
I'm happy with that. In your first fight, you were very self-critical. You said you were unhappy with your timing, but you got right into your work so quickly tonight. You must be delighted. Yeah, well, I worked very hard for this one. All credit to Jimmy Tibbs. He put me into superb condition. I'm very, very happy with him. He's doing a marvellous job with me. And I think it showed tonight that I was on the ball, and I'm very, very pleased. I'm very thankful that Frank Warren has given me a chance to resume my career and become world champion again. I'm just very happy. Millions of people watching here and watching in America. They're seeing the finish of the fight here, Barry. I'm sure you'll be delighted to see it once again. Yeah, well, I see the left hook at the end there, but he was presenting very little target. And I was trying to hit him around the side, and a few times I was borderline, but I'm trying very hard to get that right, and I'm working very hard on it in the gym. I think I've got better combinations now. I'm throwing more punches, and Jimmy has done an amazing job with me as far as putting my combinations together. You know, as you can see there, once I had him going, I never let him off the hook. He was a tough guy, but Jimmy just predicted it exactly right. He said, this guy's going to be a hard guy. Just like Frank, we both said it was going to be tough for a few rounds, but just keep on top of him, keep picking away at him, and he fought it back. Next time in the ring, is it going to be for the world title? That's a $60 million question. That's why I asked it. I know, I'm not going to answer it either. I'm going to go in holidays, have a rest, and I'm going to make my mind up. A better Barry McGuigan second time round, you feel? I think so. A stronger Barry McGuigan anyway. And I think I proved that tonight. That's a fully fledged junior lightweight, a big man, and I've done the job. And just a word about the support you've received here. Marvellous, absolutely incredible. Very happy with it. They seem to have adapted me very well here at Luton. And who knows, Frank? Could be another day. Could be another day. Thank you very much.
That was Jim Rosenthal, our colleague from London Weekend Television Sport, with the interview of Barry McGuigan, who from this very happy moment will go home to Ireland, and he will be attending the one-year anniversary ceremonies of the death of his father, Pat, his inspiration, on Monday in Clones, Ireland. But for now, Barry McGuigan is getting back toward the top of the boxing world with a furious win here tonight over De Cruz. From England, let's go back to Frank in New York.
Okay, Don, and coming up live, Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks will weigh in for their Monday night showdown in Atlantic City. But first, a few items. ABC's coverage of the Olympic trials continues in 2 weeks with boxing, and we'll have that for you live from Concord, California. And earlier this month, the selections were made for the teams that will represent the U.S. in kayaking and canoeing. Here's a report. The U.S. Olympic trials for canoe and kayak were held on Eagle Creek Reservoir in Indianapolis, where 100 paddlers competed in 11 events. The closest race occurred in the women's 500-meter final, won in a photo finish by Kathy Marino-Gears. Canoe paddler Bruce Merritt captured a berth on his second U.S. Olympic team by winning the 1,000-meter final. But the most compelling figure was kayak paddler Greg Barton. The son of a Homer, Michigan pig farmer, Barton was born with club feet. But despite this, he became a world champion and idolized by millions in Europe. A bronze medalist in the '84 Olympics, Greg Barton's kayak philosophy is simple.
I just like the feeling of being outside in a boat and seeing how fast I can make it move through the water. It's almost a thrill to me to pull hard on the paddle and feel the boat accelerate.
Barton's win in the 1,000-meter final qualified him for his third Olympic squad, where he'll join 20 teammates on the largest ever United States Olympic canoe and kayak team. Right now, it's time for our Athlete of the Week award.
ABC's Wide World of Sports Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Acura, Legend and Integra. Precision crafted performance exclusively at your Acura dealer.
To win the NBA championship last Tuesday night, the Los Angeles Lakers knew they needed a big game from James Worthy. They got much, much more than that. With a combination of pure power and finesse, Worthy took Game 7 into his own hands. He scored 36 points, had 16 rebounds and 10 assists for the first triple-double of his career. And he led the Lakers to that cherished second consecutive title, a feat that had not been accomplished in the NBA since 1969. Joining us now from our KABC affiliate in Los Angeles, James Worthy. And James, you got the Jeep, you got the trophy, and all of that on a team that has Magic Johnson and Jabbar. And when was it that you knew it had to be you to have the big series to win?
Well, I just knew I had to make my contribution. It was a tough series throughout the whole playoffs, and having had 2 bad games in Detroit, you do feel the pressure and the responsibility to make your contribution, but the MVP just came naturally. I just wanted to win another championship.
To many of us, James, it reminded us of a few years ago, the NCAA title against Georgetown, you with North Carolina. You were the MVP then. You're just a big game player.
Well, I think the pressure brings out the best in a lot of athletes. You know, throughout the regular season, you have the tendency to think the season is too long or it gets monotonous. But when the playoffs start, it's your backs are against the wall every game. The intensity is tremendous, and I think that aids to the fact that players play better in pressure situations.
Okay, Pat Riley wouldn't, as he did last year, say that you would win next year. We've got a good forum for you, James. Will you repeat next year?
Well, I think we've accomplished as far as repeating is concerned, but, you know, I think it's a natural instinct in all athletes to be competitive. I think we'll be looking to win another championship next year. Obviously, we don't want to lose just because we've accomplished some history here. We still want to win, I think.
James, we thank you for being with us. We congratulate you once again. And if the guard is changing in the NBA and with the Lakers, we're going to look to James Worthy for a lot more of MVP play. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Disputed heavyweight championship title. And right now they are going to be weighing in very shortly in Atlantic City, and Al Trotwig is standing by there down in Atlantic City, and let's go there right now for the Tyson Spinks weigh-in.
Frank, it's summertime on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, and that means this is normally a busy place. But it will never be as busy as it will be on Monday night at the Convention Center when Michael Spinks and Michael Tyson meet in the most expensive sporting event of all time. But today, next door at Trump Plaza, the weigh-in the theater. And there is a large crowd here, as large as has been attracted by any of the stars that have played this theater before. Good afternoon. I'm Al Trotwig in Atlantic City. In just a short while, Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson will be here, and they'll be here for the weigh-in, and we'll get a chance to talk to them later live as well. You know, this is a very unique event, a World Heavyweight Championship. Unique because there aren't many athletes on many teams to focus on, but only 2 men. There are more than 1,300 people who have been given media credentials here, and many more who haven't been given a chance to come to the fight. As they all have gone through their investigative reporting, they have uncovered a very sordid, strange tale involving Mike Tyson, one of sex, money, marriage, and between the management, some very, very strange goings-on as well. Bill Caton and Don King. Now, as we stumble through that, we can look ahead to what we're here for today, and that is the weigh-in. Now, of course, we're not here for the fight, but we'll talk about them later. The weigh-in in and of itself has not been a very special event over the years. That is, of course, until the emergence of one very special man. The weigh-in. For heavyweights, it used to be a mere formality. That is, until Muhammad Ali put on displays like these before his fights with Sonny Liston and Joe Bugner. He made the weigh-in an event and tipped the scales of popularity in his favor. Taunting, chanting, flowers, dancing, and poetry became an extension of Ali, the hype master. The weigh-in in the world of the heavyweights would never be the same because they never looked like this before.
Walk like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Oh, rumble, young man, rumble.
And we doubt the crowd here at Trump Plaza will be treated to anything like Muhammad Ali, but the interest in this fight is undeniable. Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks have been in the headlines throughout their careers for a variety of reasons, most of them being powerful reasons. Mike Tyson's story is one that is very, very interesting. As a matter of fact, his story in many ways parallels that of Michael Spinks. That is, of course, because of the beginnings of these two men. They really have been success stories when you consider where they've come from and what they've achieved. Mike Tyson, for example, will fight on Monday night and will earn close to $20 million. The crowd paying nearly $13 million to fill 22,000 seats and watch him fight Michael Spinks. We'll get a chance to look at both of these fighters, beginning with Mike Tyson. And to do that, we'll take you north of Atlantic City to Brooklyn, New York, and a place called Brownsville. They say a child is the product of his environment. Mike Tyson is the product of a broken home in the rough Brownsville neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. Not many millionaires come from Amboy Street. It wasn't long before a cute kid became a bad kid. A sixth grader became mugger and thief. As a result, Mike was given a new home, the Tryon Correctional School in upstate New York. There he tried boxing at age 12 and then met a man who may have saved his life.
When I was 14, I was introduced to a great legendary fight trainer by the name of Cus D'Amato. I spent at least 6 months with him when he decided to adopt me and become my legal guardian. And when we weren't in the gym, we used to watch a tremendous amount of fight films. And Cus used to point out the different reasons why these fighters were great and the reasons why they were better than the modern fighters.
The fact that these great fighters of the past, who we admire so much, and I tell them that there's no reason why he can't be even greater than those people. Because if his interest allows, and his will and ambition and his dedication is great, this is very possible.
This was someone who was given the rare chance to change the direction of their life. It was also someone with special skills of power. It was an amateur career which ended on a down note for Mike Tyson, with 2 losses to Henry Tillman in the U.S. Amateurs and for an Olympic berth. He then turned pro and quickly returned to his winning ways. The talk of his potential grew. The heaviest burden an athlete can bear is potential, but Tyson's shoulders never wilted under the weight. Then his mentor Cus D'Amato passed away, leaving Mike's career in the hands of co-managers Bill Caton and Jimmy Jacobs. Just months ago, Jacobs died, leaving Caton as the man in charge. But the career went on. Against Jesse Ferguson, Mike was very destructive, creating a positive network television debut, proving he could continue his climb without D'Amato at his side. But it wasn't all smooth knockout sailing. Versus well-known James Quick Tillis, Mike Tyson started strong. But Tillis found a way to keep the man boxing, and Mike Tyson withered in the later rounds, settling for his first win by decision. It seemed to make him mad, and the victim was former heavyweight champ Joe Frazier's son, Marvis. The awful mismatch was the quickest KO in network television history. One uppercut almost lifted Frazier off his feet, and as a result, the crowd rose to theirs. He completed his escape from his bad childhood beginnings when he became the youngest heavyweight champ in history, stopping Trevor Berbick in the second round for the WBC title. His strength, which still seemed to be growing, was staggering. Then Mike Tyson, now a millionaire, was able to defeat Bone Crusher Smith to win yet another heavyweight title, beat Pinklin Thomas, and then add Tony Tucker to unify the heavyweight title for the first time since 1978. The potential he showed to Cus D'Amato had been realized. Today we're live in one of the houses that Donald Trump built. Donald plunked down $10 million to get this fight right next to his hotel. His wife Ivana used to run this hotel until recently when she went to take over one of the Trump's newest holdings, the Plaza Hotel in New York City. He is now a major factor in the fight game in this country. We turn now to Michael Spinks as we look forward to the arrival of these two boxers here at Trump Plaza for the weigh-in, which is coming up in just a few moments. Michael Spinks believes that in the natural progression of heavyweight fighters since 1890 or so, when John L. Sullivan had the heavyweight title, he is the legitimate heavyweight champion because he beat the man who beat the man who beat the man, going all the way back to John L. Sullivan. But of course he doesn't have a title to show for it. As I said, though, he does have a legitimate claim in his mind, and that makes his career as interesting as Mike Tyson's because his beginnings were as modest as Mike's. From his home in St. Louis, Michael Spinks could see the gateway to the West. However, the Pruitt-Igoe housing project seemed only to be a gateway to despair. But as the buildings came down, Michael Spinks was moving up, winning an Olympic gold in 1976 along with his brother Leon. From there, Michael made the natural progression to becoming a pro, then proceeding to record 15 straight victories. In 1981, an uppercut knocked the top-rated light heavyweight contender unconscious and made Spinks the next challenger for the belt. 4 months later, the WBA light heavyweight championship was his when the Spinks Jinx right cross helped him win a unanimous 15-round decision over Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. Immediately, preparations were made for the biggest light heavyweight fight in history. The housing project is far away as Michael earns more than $1 million defeating WBC light heavyweight champ White Muhammad Kawi in a close decision. It was then that Spinks bulked up to conquer the legendary world of the heavyweights, ruled at that time by Larry Holmes. The decision in that fight changed history.
And you, IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Spinks.
He was the first light heavyweight to claim the heavyweight title, and he continued to prove he belonged there with wins like this 4-round stoppage of Stephen Tongstead. Then controversy, as Spinks drops out of an HBO-sponsored tournament and gets stripped of his IBF title to fight Jerry Cooney for twice the money and an easy win. The natural lineage of heavyweight champions who had taken the title from each other back to John L. Sullivan in the 1890s had Michael Spinks as the champ. He just didn't have an official title to prove it. That can all change if Michael Spinks wins on Monday night to claim all 3 titles that are on the line. And there to record it for posterity in his now famous colors is Leroy Neiman. He as well did the fight poster that you may have seen proclaiming this fight once and for all. We are live in Atlantic City in New Jersey. The fighters are making their way into the theater at Trump Plaza on the boardwalk, on the shore of the Atlantic Ocean. We're live on ABC's Wide World of Sports, and we'll be back.
What to do on a night like this? Music's sweet, I can't resist. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
This is Al Troutwig, and joining me is ABC Sports boxing analyst Alex Swallow. The fighters are moments away. We're told they're here at Trump Plaza, and their weigh-in will be coming up shortly, and we'll have live coverage of it. And Alex, though, this fight, in a strange way, has been balanced more towards the personal life of Mike Tyson in terms of focus as opposed to the strategy of the fight.
Al, in terms of the fight itself, this should be the biggest fight in the history of the sport in terms of dollars. But as you point out, the fight itself has been overwhelmed by the soap opera that seems to be swirling around Mike Tyson for the last few weeks. And speaking about the fight itself, it's being called once and for all, but the bit of pre-fight hype I like best is 1-0 has to go, which means we have 2 undefeated fighters, Mike Tyson 34-0, Michael Spinks 31-0, and barring the unlikely event of a draw, 1-0 will in fact go on Monday night, and that's a big part of the intrigue of this fight. Today we're here for one of the sideshow events of the prior to the main event, the weigh-in. And heavyweight weigh-ins have very little significance since heavyweights don't have to make weight. But Al, it does give us an opportunity to examine the background of this fight and to talk live with the 2 principals.
One principal has been in the news a little bit more than the other. That's Mike Tyson, and that's because his manager, Bill Caton, has been feuding with Don King, the promoter of this fight. 2 very, very strong personalities. And when we talk about this situation, you simply need to see the type of focus that the media has given this across the country, and you can see that Don King, who is there next to Donald Trump's wife, Ivana, has really not gotten along with Bill Caton. This situation has been complicated with the death of Jimmy Jacobs, who was Caton's co-manager for Tyson. They do agree, however, that Tyson will be unaffected by all of this.
When that bell rings for round one, everything that's been a distraction for him in the past will be forgotten. He will think only of knocking out Michael Spinks.
I think it's just going to make him more awesome than what he would have been. I think that every athlete has to have the power of concentration and the power of transference in order to make any aggravation, any anger, any exasperation or frustration to transfer to the opponent.
They may agree on that, but they don't even come close to agreeing about each other.
For reasons that I cannot fathom, Don King started bad-mouthing Jim and me to Mike and to others in terms of Mike should be more with him than with us.
I have no intention, no inclination, no desire to be the manager of Mike Tyson.
And I thought that Mike would agree, based on some very serious stupidities of Don King, that he would not know part of Don King either. And I believe he feels that way at this time. I think he's really had it with Don King. He realizes that Don King is a disaster area for him. He's got him involved in some deals that are sheer disasters for Mike Tyson.
Let's deal with the facts, Mr. Caton. Bring the man's books up. Tell him what you're doing other than taking 33% off his outside activity, 33 to 30% of his inside activity in boxing, and then taking 20% of the gross. Tell the people how you're doing this and how it comes about that you can continue to do this and say that you're pious, benign, and holier than thou, and you wouldn't do anything wrong. Those are the questions to answer.
As far as his accounting goes, which has been questioned, Mike has had an accounting in every respect. And every report that's been asked for by the people who are now involved in his career has been given to them.
Mr. Caton is just like I said, he's an inveterate liar. He's a hypocrite in the first form. He's the kind of a guy that is so selfish and self-centered. He's an egotistical maniac, and he's greedy.
Don King is making a clown of himself now. He's shooting off his mouth and making all kinds of crazy statements with no substance. There's no substance because there cannot be any substance. But he's just making all of these crazy claims.
There is Bill Caton, the manager of Mike Tyson, who is here at Trump Plaza. The most unique thing about this situation is that Bill Caton and Don King really had to work together very closely to pull this fight off. What happens in the future may wind up in the courts, may wind up being a compromise. The other element of this controversy is the personal life controversy of Mike Tyson. A few months ago, he was married to ABC television star Robin Givens. Many people felt that Robin became immediately too interested in the finances of Mike Tyson, thus involving Bill Caton and then Don King in the controversy. Many people felt that this interest should have put her not on the cover of Life, People, or Sports Illustrated, but on the cover of Money or Fortune magazines. Perhaps unfair, and is this anybody's business really? Well, maybe not, but Mike Tyson has to get used to the fact that he is now one of the largest public figures in the world. Robin Givens is not here yet, and someone else who has been involved in this is Robin's mother, Ruth Roper, and that's another story entirely. All this has led up to the huge promotion which has made this the biggest fight of all time. $13 million paid alone by the people in the arena. The fighters have made their way to Trump Plaza, and in a moment, live on ABC's Wide World of Sports from Trump Plaza on the boardwalk, the weigh-in for the big one on Monday night. The weigh-in for their undisputed world heavyweight title fight here in Atlantic City at the Convention Center on Monday night. I'm Al Troutwig. Alex Swallow is still along as we continue our live coverage of this weigh-in on ABC's Wide World of Sports this afternoon. We have sought out many opinions as to who will win this fight. A man who's performing on Broadway in the world according to me, Jackie Mason, offers his very unique insight. Jackie, you were a boxer at one time?
Not only a boxer, I'm still a boxer. I work for the United Fruit Company. I box everything I see. No, that's not it. I was a professional fighter, not exactly professional. I fought. Then one day another guy showed up and it became a big problem, and after that I figured this is not for me, especially when the guy started to throw punches at me. I wouldn't mind the guy fighting, but don't hit me, because after all I'm a very nice person and I don't see any reason for a fight. I didn't even remember the argument. So, the truth of the matter is that I did fight some amateur boxing when I was about 18, 19 years old, and I really loved boxing. I really loved it, but except when people hit you right in the mouth. This is not for Jewish people. I said to myself, I got to find somebody else to take my place. I'd rather watch this or bet on this.
Who's going to win this fight?
I have an idea, but I don't think I'm going to tell you, because the last thing I need is to meet the guy that I picked out to lose the next day. Would you like to pick Tyson and the next day bump into him in the street? Would you like him to find out that you're the guy that took it? He was going to get wiped out.
A lot of controversy involved here.
There's a lot of controversy, especially among the people who are not officially in the fight. The people who are not fighting are more interesting fight than the people in the ring. You got about 9 fights going on all at once. There's a fight between Caton and Don King. Everybody's wondering who's going to win that one. And then there's a fight between Tyson and his wife. And if his wife loses, he got his mother-in-law ready. And the mother-in-law is ready for the real big fight. With Spinks, it's nothing. One night, it's all over. He might lose a punch or two, but with her, he could get wiped out completely. Because this woman is not aiming for his chin, she's aiming for his wallet. Now, that's none of my business. I'm not saying she's a bad person, and I'm not saying that who's right in this situation either, because I don't want to get in a fight with any of them. These are people who know how to fight. But I'll tell you this, I think that I should really have been in the ring, because I would think I would knock them both out. That's why neither one of them has the nerve to face me. They're facing each other, but when they see me coming, they don't take a chance. I called up Tyson. I said, "You want to fight?" He said, "Not right now. I'd rather fight Spinks."
We'd like to thank Jackie Mason for his special brand of humor, but really there has been very little to laugh about for Mike Tyson or Michael Spinks for that matter. Mike Tyson has made his way into Trump Plaza and will, in a few moments, step onto the scale. Alex, I'd really like to have your feelings as to what the effect will be on Mike Tyson for all the external things that have happened to him, as Michael Spinks is now also here.
Well, I think that really is a big part of this fight. Is the turmoil in his private life affecting Mike Tyson's ability to fight at his peak? And that question will be answered Monday night, and we can talk all we want about it, but we just don't have the answer until we see him in the ring. I don't think that Mike Tyson, once the bell rings, is going to be affected by this. I really think that he will be able to fight close to his peak, and I think that'll be enough for him to retain his title. But let me just make one other point, if I could, Al. We saw a graphic there that said undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson. There are people who dispute the fact that he's heavyweight champion. There are people who say that because Michael Spinks won his title by beating the champion Larry Holmes, and he never lost it in the ring, he only lost it because he was stripped by the sanctioning bodies, that Michael Spinks is, in fact, remains the heavyweight champion of the world. Ring Magazine, a very respected magazine, says that. Boxing Illustrated, another respected magazine, says that. So there are still some people, especially the boxing purists, who do dispute Mike Tyson's heavyweight championship.
Okay, let's go to the scales.
The man recognized by Ring Magazine as the current heavyweight champion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Spinks.
That is the voice of ring announcer Michael Buffer. Butch Lewis is in the red leather jumpsuit.
You guys gonna spin
No, it's 12 and a half.
Okay.
12 and a half.
You get it right? Okay. Hit it, Butch. That's a quarter. 212 and a quarter.
Okay, Michael Spinks, 212 pounds and 1/4.
This will be the heaviest that Michael Spinks has ever fought at. His average weight as a heavyweight, 203 and a half. His highest weight as a heavyweight, 208 3/4. His lowest, 200. So he moves up and has gained an awful lot of weight.
Yeah, and that's really surprising to me. I thought he might come in the heaviest of his career, but not 212. He's going to be very close to Mike Tyson in weight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the current undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
This theater is absolutely jammed.
Watch him, Bill. Let me please, please.
18 and a quarter.
Excuse me. Michael Tyson, 218 pounds and 1/4.
He's lost an awful lot of weight from the 231 he had when he came into camp about 6 weeks ago, 218 and a quarter.
Right, let's move over now.
That's about 3 pounds less than the highest weight he has fought at as a heavyweight, the lowest being 215 and 3/4. So the weights have been recorded. We have seen very little of the Muhammad Ali taunting, chanting, flowers, poetry, and so forth. These men are very businesslike as they arrive and step onto the scales at Trump Plaza today. So there you have it, the weigh-in, and in a moment we hope to have live conversations with Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks. The selection of the gloves for this fight, they will be 10 ounces and they will be used quite frequently, we believe, tomorrow night in the Convention Center, Monday night in Atlantic City. World Heavyweight title fight here in Atlantic City on Monday night. In a moment, he'll be heading up to a dressing room here at Trump Plaza, and we are scheduled to talk with him live. Alex Swallow has made his way up there, and it'll be interesting to hear some of what have been somber thoughts this week from Mike Tyson. Now, joining me is one of the more interested party, not only in the proceedings here, but in the proceedings most definitely on Monday night. You might recognize the face of Evander Holyfield, Olympic champion, and now the undisputed world cruiserweight champion. Now, your plans must include the bronze medalist in the Olympics. Your plans must include a move up to the heavyweight division and one of these two in the future.
Most definitely. My campaign is July 16. Quick till it's my first heavyweight contention. I think the winner of this fight could be farther down the line for me.
Now, Evander, I just spoke to Don King a moment ago, and I said, what is the potential of an Evander Holyfield, Michael Tyson, or Michael Spinks fight? He said, maybe bigger than this, maybe through the roof. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that give me a big boost, but
I'll say.
Yeah, the main thing is to take each and every fight one at a time and to do the best I possibly can, and maybe that can come true.
What are your feelings about this particular fight? Michael Spinks hasn't fought in a year. Mike Tyson has had some outside influences on his life that may have affected him.
Well, I think it's going to be a very good fight because you have two good champions. I think the fight will be determined by which man fight his fight. I think Tyson's a very, very good aggressive fighter. I think if he gives Spinks any kind of respect, then Spinks can more like opponent him.
What are the things that you respect about the both of them, even though you'd have to have an antagonistic relationship with either one of them should you get in the ring with them?
Well, I respect, on Tyson's behalf, I respect his punching power and his ability and what he had brought back to boxing. A very good champion. He had proven that he was the best, and he fought everybody that really wanted to fight him, and he has proven that as a heavyweight right now that no one can handle him. And on Spinks has proven that he's a good fighter. He moved up for light heavyweight, and he was able to defeat Larry Holm and beat Cooney and this other guy, Taft's Tank, I think this fellow name. He has proven that he's a worthy opponent for Tyson. I think this fight here was prove that who is the legitimate heavyweight champion of the world.
Okay, Evander, thank you very much. It's good to see you. Thank you. Okay. Michael Spinks there in Trump Plaza now with a hat on. Mike Tyson has, I believe, gone up to his dressing room, and we're scheduled to talk to him in a moment. The tail of the tape now is complete for both of these fighters. You can see the drastic age difference favoring Tyson if you think a younger fighter is better by a decade. The weight, only 6 pounds. The height by a couple of inches, and the reach, 5.5 inches, favoring Michael Spinks. So the tail of the tape now complete with the weigh-in here at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City here today. We are still waiting to talk to Michael Tyson, and we hope to do that in a moment in Atlantic City. This, of course, has been a much talked about fight. There are more than 1,300 media members here. A fight so big that they even had a closed circuit of the sparring session yesterday. There are many resulting opinions.
The pre-fight is like a circus. I've never seen anything like it. I think everybody's more interested in Mike Tyson's sex life and whether or not he's going to win the fight, which he's going to do in 7 rounds.
It's a big fight, but I don't believe it has the...
that much. I worked out today, and after working out today, I was 216. And so I said, I'm going to go home. And then before the weigh-in, I ate a little bit before I came out.
With all the craziness of the past months, is it really possible for you to be 100% mentally and physically prepared for this fight?
I'm ready to roll. Great shape physically and mentally.
But is it possible for you to have prepared, put in the time and your conditioning with all the things going on? Is it really possible for that to be there?
Let me put it this way. I put in the 7 weeks, the 8 weeks, whatever, you know, to get in this shape. And let me tell you, you know what I mean? I'm the kind of guy, I don't put forth the effort for nothing, so I'm not going to put forth so much effort and let it go all the waste.
You're a student of boxing history, and you know how many great fighters have destroyed their boxing careers with letting their personal lives intrude. Are you in any danger of letting it happen to your career?
Hey, you know what I mean? I started off my personal life, you know what I mean? It's chaotic in general, you know, it started off that way. So what can I say, you know what I mean? I don't take it serious, you know what I mean? The great deal of it, I think, is fun and it's great. But, you know what I mean? Most people let it overwhelm them, like the public in general. They're more overwhelmed than I am.
Which fight in your mind do you think will be tougher, the battle behind the scenes or the fight in the ring?
Everything will be taken care of, I'm sure of. I'm just looking forward to taking care of Mr. Spinks.
Speaking of the fight itself, what kind of a fight do you expect him to fight?
Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever fight he has, you know what I mean, there's nothing going to save him.
You're not expecting anything specifically from him?
No, perhaps he'll run or try to give me some cute move, be awkward, but I'm prepared for everything. I trained for 7 weeks, and I had the most awkwardest sparring partners. And what can I say? I'm just ready to go.
In your mind, do you beat a Michael Spinks fighting a contained fight, or do you just go right after him winging power punches with both hands?
Well, you know, I have to be constant, you know what I mean, as I am in all my fights. Just sustain a lot of pressure and punch to the body.
3 years ago, Michael, you made $500 in your pro debut in Albany, New York, and on Monday night you're going to make somewhat in excess of $20 million. Did you ever dream there'd be days like this for you?
Well, I never really thought about the big purses. I always was concerned with where there's success, there's money, and as long as you're successful, you make money. And if you didn't think about the money, you didn't have to worry about it. It's like being in a race, and the winner of the race makes $1 million, and you see a $500,000 gold piece, and you stop to pick it up, and people pass you, and you miss the big money. So, you know...
You certainly haven't missed any big money.
Well, like I say, you know, my main objective is winning.
Let me ask you one final question. Is fame and fortune all that it's cracked up to be?
Not at all. Not at all.
It hasn't been...
No, but Cus told me it's not what you think it is. You know what I mean? You think about you're going to be famous, you know what I mean? People are going to know you all your life and everything. But the main objective is once something negative happens to you, people forget about you. People don't want to be around you no more, as long as you don't have that, quote, aura around you.
You said something to me when you were training a few weeks ago. You said if Cus was still here, none of this would be going on, meaning the distractions in your private life. What did you mean by that?
Well, I just remember that because Cus, in his very crude but sophisticated way, because it was only sophisticated because of the end result. He got what he wanted, and what everybody else wanted, to have peace of mind. Yes, it just wouldn't have happened.
Michael, the best of luck to you on Monday night. Let's go back to Al Troutwig.
Thank you.
All right, Alex, let me tell you what happened today in the theater in terms of interest in the media, and excitement and anticipation was overwhelming. If the fight is half this good, it should be memorable. Just to recap, Mike Tyson's weight, 218 1/4. Michael Tyson was less than that by a few pounds. We'll continue our live coverage from Atlantic City, New Jersey in a moment on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
And mid-season bonus money on the line. These drivers are banking on over $1 million total payday. Plus, the world's top runners gather for the Bislett International Track and Field Meet. The main event, a legendary race among a world-class field. The Dream Mile live. On July 9th, Wide World begins its live coverage of the U.S. Olympic trials. The focus is on boxing as our top fighters compete for a chance to make the U.S. team. And on the 16th, the trials continue with the box office. Also, the country's top track and field stars begin their quest to become Olympians. It's all coming up in July on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Sometimes you can take your best laid plans and throw them out the window. Michael Spinks moments ago declined to talk to us after he weighed in, but standing by upstairs with Alex Swallow is Eddie Futch and Butch Lewis. Alex?
We're here with one of the true gentlemen in boxing, 77 years old, 55 years in the sport, sparred with Joe Louis despite his diminutive stature, Eddie Futch. Eddie, first of all, Michael's the heaviest he's ever been. Was that by design? Did you feel you needed more size on Michael, or did he just end up that weight after a hard training camp?
He ended up that way after a hard training camp, and there was nothing designed about it. We felt that wherever his weight stopped and he was sharp, that's where he would come in.
Butch Lewis, you've been around Michael for virtually his entire professional career. What is his mental state? How would you describe his attitude towards this fight with Tyson?
Well, Alex, right now, Mike is at his normal state of mind. That is, I call it the going from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. He's got his fight face on. When people talk about his weight, if you remember, Alex, when we first fought Larry Holmes, we were at 199. As we got to Cooney, we were at 208. Now we're at 212. So since 1985, there's been that 12...
We just lost the lights, Butch. Excuse us. We're going to throw it back down to Al Troutwig downstairs.
All right, Alex. Somebody pulled the plug. Certainly there was no shortage of money to pay the electric bill here at Trump Plaza. I just watched one of my Japanese colleagues file a report live to Tokyo. This is, after all, a World Heavyweight Championship. And that's why we're all here. Monday night, Spinks and Tyson. Here's Frank Gifford.
Thank you very much, Al. They keep disappearing on us down in Atlantic City. Earlier, if you were with us, a fine fight here this afternoon. Ireland's Barry McQuiggan on the comeback trail took a big step there. He defeated Thomas de Cruz in the 4th round by a TKO. This was only his 2nd fight in 2 years, and it was very impressive. And right after the fight, Don Chevrier, who called that fight, had a chance to talk with Barry about what lies ahead.
All right, here is Barry, his brother over his shoulder there, and you told us yesterday that you would evaluate Barry fight by fight. Let's evaluate this one, if you would, for us.
Well, John, it's a wee bit difficult at this stage to evaluate it because there's so much commotion, and I really haven't had a look at my own performance. I'll evaluate it when I have a look at it. I'm not going to commit myself now. I said I wasn't going to commit myself yesterday. I'm certainly not going to commit myself today. I'm going to go and have a look at Nelson, have a look at Lockridge. Incidentally, how's he doing?
No, I have no idea.
He's fighting tonight as well, so it would be impressive to have a look at him. I'll leave a lot of it up to Frank, and you know, we'll sit down in a while and discuss the whole thing.
Well, you've got to be enormously satisfied, however, with what you feel coming out of the ring tonight.
Yes, I was very pleased. There were a few punches that I missed and didn't hit the target with, but that's to be expected. I'm feeling much sharper than I did the last time, and things are coming together.
It seemed more like the good old days this time, huh?
Yeah, well, it was plenty of punches thrown, an aggressive fight. He came at me and he said I could have it any way I liked, whether he move or whether he boxed, but he didn't box. He came to fight, and he put up a hell of a performance. He's a dangerous enough puncher, but I think I done a good job, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we'll be seeing Barry McQuiggan fighting for a title before this year is out. Congratulations on an outstanding performance,
Thanks,
Barry.
Don. Thanks for giving me the chance to be viewed in America again.
Thank you.
Barry McQuiggan, you heard him ask about Azuma Nelson. Azuma Nelson, the WBC super featherweight champion, fought this afternoon. He defended his title, a 9th round TKO win over Lupe Suarez in Atlantic City. So McQuiggan and Nelson, they could be meeting down the line, both very impressive today. We hope you've enjoyed our day. Again, Michael Spinks, 212.5 pounds. Mike Tyson, 218.25 pounds. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, our day begins at 3 o'clock Eastern with an Olympic celebration. Keepers of the Flame, a look at the history of the modern Olympics since its origin in 1896. And then we'll have live final round coverage of the McDonald's Championship LPGA Tournament. And next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Firecracker 400 stock car race featuring top drivers Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, plus live coverage of the Bislett International Track and Field Meet featuring the Dream Mile from Oslo, Norway. That's ABC's Wide World of Sports next Saturday at a special early time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Stay tuned for your local news, followed by ABC.
I've got to take a little time to think things over. Better read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. This mountain I must climb feels like the world upon my shoulders. But through the crowds I see love shine. It keeps me warm when life grows colder. In my life there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. I can't stop now. I've traveled so far to change this lonely life.
nowhere left to hide. It looks like love has finally found me. In my life, there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. I can't stop now. I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. Oh yeah. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. Come on now. I wanna know what love is. I know you can show me. I wanna feel what love is. And I know you can show me. Let's talk about love. I wanna know what love is. Love that you feel inside. I want you to show me. And I'm feeling so much love. No, you can't hide. No, you can show me. I wanna know what love is. Let's talk about it now. I want you to show me. And I'm feeling so much love. I feel what love is. And I know. You can show me. I wanna know what love is. Can we talk about it now? No, you can show me. You feel it this way now. I wanna feel what love is. And I know you can show me. Show me. Oh, yeah.